Hey, what's going on, American government class? Surroundings a little different today. Took over Miss Faust's room. Maybe do it for the whole week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we're feeling. But what do we got today? We got an easy day. 3 things on the to-do list. Number 1, last class review. All right, last class, we did a weekly review quiz. Woo! Good job on that. Those of you who did it, nailed it. Well done. Now, we talked about, also before that, we finished up our Road to the White House notes. We talked about things like the national campaign, the primary campaign, the national election, the primary election, inauguration day, electoral college. The electoral college, can we talk about that for a second? You don't even vote for the president. You don't vote for the president. You vote for people who vote for the president on your behalf. It's like everything you were ever told was a lie. But that's what a representative democracy is, right? We have a republic. We don't vote on everything. We vote on some things. We vote for certain people to vote for who we want them to. Does make sense. That's why there's 2 different types of votes. There's the popular vote, which is what all the people, you add up all the people, who did you vote for? Yay, nay, yay, 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 nay. You add all those up, that's the popular vote. And then you have the electoral college vote, where, hey, every state has a certain number of electors, a certain number of electoral votes. Whoever gets to 271st wins. That's kind of the big deal from that one. The electoral college, even though it seems crazy, the electoral college is who picks the president. And it's all based on, most of the time, the popular vote. However, we're going to have some fun with that one a little bit later on. There's some strange things that have happened in the electoral college recently, and since it was created. But we'll get there. I digress. What do we got today? Roles of the president. Now, told you the executive branch is more than just the president, but the president is the leader of it. So a lot of important things to talk about when we're talking about the president. Number 1, the different things that the president does. Different things. There's so many different things. There's a lot of roles that the president has. We're going to talk about them today. Now, when I say roles, what do I mean? Like they eat a lot of rolls? No. Am I saying like they roll out? No. Roles as in responsibilities, okay? The president is what we call a man or a woman of many hats. Have you ever heard that? If you have a bunch of different hats, it means you have a bunch of different responsibilities or roles. For example, Mr. Weckbaugh, I'm a man of many hats. I've got a bunch of responsibilities. I've got 1, the responsibility of teaching you guys government. I'm a government teacher. Number 2, I also teach a computer class here at PA, so I'm a computer teacher. That's my 2nd role. Number 3, I teach a global studies debate class. I teach y'all how to debate. That's 3 roles right there. Number 4, I run the school with Mr. Finn. That's a huge role. Got a lot of responsibilities. That's just work. What about when I get home? Number 5, I've got to take care of my 15 children. Just kidding. I don't have 15 children. I have no kids. But I still have responsibilities at home, right? I got to mow the lawn. I got to maybe make some dinner. I might have to clean the house. I've got a lot of responsibilities. I myself am a man of many hats. Now today, we're going to learn about all the different hats that the president wears. So what you're going to need is a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen. I really don't care. Or if you're typing it up, type it up. That's cool, me too. Type those puppies up. But we're taking some notes today. We're not even doing Cornell note status. We're just going to talk about the different roles. There are 7 that we're going to talk about, but we're going to need paper and pencil. So go ahead, get that. Hit pause if you need to. But if not, let's go ahead and take a look at role number 1. All right. Now that you got your paper and your pencil, let me tell you, you don't even need it. I'm sorry, I forgot. I sent you this paper in your email this morning. It's the one that says a man of many hats, the roles of the president. It's in your email. You can utilize that. Just in case you didn't, I labeled it a little bit similar to how it looks in your email. But go ahead, use the email one if you got it. Hit pause if you need to. Go grab it. We'll sit here. We'll wait. All right. Now, what do we got? We've got a man, or hopefully someday, a woman of many hats. Now, there are a few. I said there's 7. And on your paper, there are a few that are based on the Constitution. So these are roles from the Constitution. Now, the first hat that the president wears is the role of head of state. Now, my friends, as head of state, the president is the living symbol of this nation, meaning they represent the nation. When you think of the leader, the representative, the numero uno representative of the country, you think of the president. That's a role that the president has. They have many ceremonial duties in this role, and they are host to White House visitors. So what does that mean? That means this role is almost purely ceremonial. You don't have a lot to do except the fun stuff. That's why I'm wearing this little, well, I guess, what would you call it? A tiara? It's like a king or a queen of another country. The Queen of England, she's old, right? Is she the leader of the country? Yes and no. When you think of England, you think of the Queen. Oh, God save the Queen or King, whatever it happens to be at the time. It's Queen now. They are the head of state. Do they do anything as far as the other roles we're about to talk about? No. The Queen of England doesn't make any laws or execute any laws. They don't do anything other than they sit there and they look nice. They host people and welcome them to the country. Same thing with the president. The role of head of state. As head of state, they're the living symbol. They represent us. They get to do the fun stuff. They have parties at the White House where they invite other ambassadors and other presidents and other leaders to the White House. And they put on a nice little dinner and a show, and then they discuss a little politics after, or maybe before. But the point is, when they're doing this role, they are head of state, similar to the Queen. The second role that the president has, or the second hat that the president has, is quite simply the chief executive. Meaning what? Meaning this: the president is responsible for enforcing the laws of the United States and is in charge of the thousands of government workers in or within the executive branch. This is like my police hat right here. Because the president is in charge of all of these people and is responsible for executing all these laws. Remember, Congress, they write the laws. They say, here you go, El Presidente. Make this work. And it is the president's job to figure that out. He or she is the leader of the executive branch, the chief executive. There are thousands of people that work in the executive branch, and the president is in charge of them all. So when you say the buck stops here, that means, hey, you can keep going up, 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 up. Who's your boss? Who's your boss? Well, who's your boss? Give me their boss. Give me their boss. President of the United States is the top of them all when it comes to the executive branch. They are responsible for making sure everything that is supposed to get done gets done in the United States. That is the chief executive. The third role of the president is, of course, the chief diplomat, also known as the foreign policy maker, meaning the president has a role of dealing with other countries, like Mexico. Now, with the help of his advisors, our current president, Joe Biden, and every other president, they establish foreign policy. Now, what is foreign policy? What's a policy? It's a rule. What's foreign? Something from another country. So with the help of the advisors, the president kind of figures out how we're going to treat and have interactions with other countries and their leaders. They also decide how America will react to certain foreign issues. So if there's something going on in another country, the president will say, should we, go ahead and go on over there and talk to them? Should we send some troops that way to help out in a war or to help out some people? Should we not? Should we sit back? Now, Famously, as chief diplomat, our last president, Donald Trump, did not want to, be the most welcoming to immigrants, if you recall. We created a wall. We had a bunch of people put on a can't fly into America list. So that's how he was acting as chief diplomat. He was making rules that were not allowing immigrants to come in. Also, quite famously, when it comes to foreign policy and deciding what certain foreign issues we will or will not get involved in, we've had presidents who decided, hey, there's a lot of bad things happening in that country. We are not going to get in. World War II, for example, when the Nazis were going and rounding up all of the Jews and the gypsies and the homosexuals and the cripples and all of these people, the American government said, it's not our problem. The president at the time was acting as chief diplomat, being like, they're not Americans, so there's nothing we can do. Of course, all of these people were going into concentration camps. They were working and not being fed well at all. They were being killed, gassed, burned alive, and America did nothing until, of course, we were bombed at Pearl Harbor. Hopefully Mr. Finn has taught you about this. But that's when we decided to get into the war. So, chief diplomat is a very important role of the president. It basically means how we deal with leaders of other countries and events happening in other countries as well. The fourth role of the president is the commander-in-chief, hence my pirate hat. What do pirates ride on? Ships. That's right, don't worry, we'll get there. I'll make the connection. As commander-in-chief, this is probably the most well-known role of the president. Everybody always calls the president the commander-in-chief. Why? Because it is a very important role. Now, these are all important, but this one has a lot of lives at risk. What do I mean by that? Well, as commander-in-chief, the president is in charge of the four branches of the military. Do we know those? We got the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. He is in charge of all four of those branches. And he has the power to make war and oversee military operations. Now notice I said make war. We'll get back to that. Basically, he is the leader of all four of these branches, meaning he is the top, numero uno, the big dog, el Doggo Grande. Gato's cat, right? Gato Grande. He's the big cat of these four branches of the military. There's nobody higher than him. If there's a colonel, and then there's like a gunnery sergeant, and then there's a captain and a general, and you can't go any higher than the president. The president is at the top of all four of those. So a general has to take orders from the president. If you are a captain, you have to take orders from the president. Now, the president isn't always at these naval bases or army bases or at the Air Force. No. It doesn't mean he's there just sitting in charge of all of these. No, he has a special room in the White House called the Situation Room. That's where he will plan things like military attacks or any type of action involving military. Now, that means everybody reports to him. He is the highest. Whatever the president says goes for the military. But right here I said make war and underline the word make. The president can make war, but the president cannot declare war. Remember from last unit, that is a responsibility or a role of Congress. The legislative branch gets to declare war. They have to vote, and they decide if we go to war. The president can't just go invading countries and say, I declare war. It doesn't work like that. However, the president can make war by sending the Army or the Navy or the Air Force or the Marines into another country. For example, we may have not declared war on a country like, let's just to use a random one, Japan. We probably wouldn't. But let's say Japan, for this example. We wouldn't declare war on them, but the president might shift some naval troops and just start stashing boats in the ocean outside of Japan. What do you think Japan's going to be thinking? You think they're going to be like, oh, look, the Americans, they sent all these naval boats with guns and bombs and torpedoes to say hi and give us hugs? Nah, son. You would think, uh-oh, they're getting ready for war. And then the Japanese might go to war with us. Once someone declares war on us, hey, we're in it. Don't need a president. We're there. The president can create war or make war. But remember, that's a very important distinction between make and declare. The president cannot declare war. However, they are in charge of all four of these branches of the military. The fifth role, I do not have really a cool hat that associates with it, but is the Chief Legislator. Legislator. Where have I heard that word, Mr. Weckbaugh? What does it mean to legislate? Legislative branch. To make laws. Oh, yes, the legislative branch. What? The president has something to do with the legislative branch? Kind of. Absolutely. Although Congress, as we know, makes the laws, the president has a great deal of influence in deciding which legislation or which laws will be passed. What do you mean, Mr. Weckbaugh? The president doesn't write laws, does he? No, but what does the president do? The president signs laws. And if the president doesn't want to sign law or sign a bill into law, he can, boom, veto it and decide, no, that's not going to be a law. Also, the president can speak up quite a bit. The president has much better press coverage than any member of the House or any member of the Senate. So the president can go on TV and say, I want Congress to get this bill passed saying no more school on Fridays. And then that will get a lot of support for it. The members of Congress will say, hey, all of my constituents in my district, they want this. They heard the president talking about this, so we need to get this bill passed. And that's another way the president has influence over legislation. However, Chief Legislator and the idea of having quite a deal of influence over what gets passed and what doesn't really all comes down to that one thing we like to call the veto. It's a rubber stamp. Veto, and saying, nope, that bill will not become a law. That is a very strong and very large power of the president, and that is why the president's fifth hat is the Chief Legislator. All right, now the past five that we talked about, hats or roles of the president, were all based on the Constitution. And it says that at the top of your paper. That means somewhere in the Constitution, it clearly defines these roles for the president, saying the president will be in charge of these four branches of military, or that the president will be the head of state and the leader, the representative, numero uno of this country. Those are all in the Constitution. It says it's on. The next two are based on custom. And what does that mean? That means like something that happens over time. They develop over a while. And the sixth role or hat of the president is the party leader, man. I lead the party. Yes, I turn up the music, man. Let's get this party started. No, not so much. The political party leader, of course. Now, president is also the leader of his political party. Thus, means therefore, he must constantly be campaigning for others in his party who are seeking re-election. That means if there's a senator or a congressman that is trying to get re-elected, the president should go out and campaign for them. They are the leader of the party. They're not necessarily the person who came up with all these ideas, but they're the leader of the party. Right now, our president, Joe Biden, he's a Democrat. So he's the leader of the party. They will go to the president and say, hey, we need you to campaign for this person who's running for Senate. They're up for re-election in 2022. We need you to come on down to Florida and say, hey, vote for this guy. And the president has that job, has that responsibility. Now, it doesn't say it anywhere in the Constitution, but that's just something that's happened over time. The people have thought, hey, how can we get this guy elected? Well, let's get the president down here and have the president campaign for them. And that is where party leader becomes the sixth role of the president. And finally, the president is the chief economic planner, which is basically the watchdog of the economy. What does a watchdog do? A watchdog looks over, protects it, right? The economy is how we are doing as a nation when it comes to money and funds and jobs. Do the people living in our country, are they going broke? Are they starving? Are they unemployed? Are there a lot of jobs to be had? That's what we're talking about when we talk about the economy. And the president is basically the watchdog of the economy, the protector. He prepares the nation's budget, meaning how much money we're going to spend on certain things here and there and everywhere, and does his best to implement policies that will create a prosperous U.S. economy. Now, very recently, the presidents of the United States, the current president, Joe Biden, and the past president, Donald Trump, were acting as chief economic planner when they also signed a bill into law that said we are going to give all of these Americans $2,000, or what was it, $1,400, or whatever amount of money they decided to give out to certain people. They were acting as the chief economic planner. They saw that the economy was not doing well because of COVID. So they got together with Congress, who wrote the law, and passed a stimulus plan for the American people to get money for nothing, just for the down hardship of COVID-19. So on the checks, the first round of checks, if you got one, you saw a signature of Donald Trump. Second one, I don't know. I actually don't know about the second one. I don't know. I didn't see a Joe Biden signature. I don't know how that went. But the point is, the president was acting as the chief economic planner. Now, the budget is a big deal. Preparing the budget, they come up with it. They decide where the money's going to be spent. Are we going to spend money on education, on medical industry, the medical industry? Are we going to spend it on the Defense Department and, making sure our Army and Navy and the Marines, all these people have a lot of money? They get to decide where all the money's going to go. And it is a very important role of the president. However, like we said, these last two, party leader and chief economic planner, are nowhere in the Constitution. They've just developed over time. All right, let's go ahead and see what you got for your assignment and attendance today. Good job on those notes. We are done with that. Let's see what we got. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. How many times have I said that this year? There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Losing my voice from saying it so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take a look. Enough, ladies and gentlemen. I'm dying. I need some water. I've got no water in here either, Mr. Faust. It's all right. You guys don't care about this. Let's take a look at what we got, all right? What's your assignment and your attendance? Very simple. All we did was take notes today. Send me a picture of your man of many hats notes. That's it. Whether it's typed up or handwritten, send me a picture. And that's it for today. Pretty easy assignment. For your attendance question, what was your favorite hat that I wore today? What was your favorite one? I'm curious. Let me know. And that's it. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you on Thursday. Ooh, weekly review quiz on Thursday. Maybe. No, maybe not. But Thursday, we will have some work to do on kind of the powers of the president. So look forward to seeing you guys then. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. If not, like I said, have a great Tuesday. We'll see you Thursday. Take care.